Every woman wishes for their fairy tale man, and every guy wishes for their fairy tale girl, the perfect relationship. But little do you know that the perfect relationship can turn into your biggest nightmare. A lot of people have experienced psychological aggression by their intimate partner in their life. Others have physical scars from proof of abuse. So what can you tell from these two pictures? It obviously looks like the person on this side is abused, not her. But in reality they're both being abused. The one without bruises is being verbally abused, which is the use of language to hurt or terrorize someone by means of gaining control over someone. But unlike physical abuse, verbal abuse can leave scars on the inside. Physical abuse is just as bad, and much more noticeable because we can physically see the scars and the pain they are going through. Now, domestic abuse is a significant problem, and we must join the fight to stop it. After hearing my speech today, you will want to get involved in the fight against domestic abuse and spread awareness. According to the National Domestic Abuse Hotline, 30 to 60% of perpetrators of abuse are intimate partner violence, and also abuse their children in the household. This young woman met her abuser 12 years ago. She realized she wasn't living in her fairy tale after 1 year of a picture-perfect relationship, so things took a turn for the worse. She got involved with the wrong guy and didn't want to realize she was in an abusive relationship. She never had physical scars, but the way her demeanor changed and the light inside of her dimmed was obvious that there was something wrong. There was some type of abuse going on. Now, when she started to see neglect and defensive attitudes coming from her children, she knew it was time to go. One night she left to go grab groceries, only to come back to her children, neglected, wet diapers, doing whatever they wanted, like nothing happened. After that incident, it was just a domino effect of things happening one after the other. So after that, she knew it was time to get out. She approached her abuser with confidence, telling him it was time to leave. But he didn't accept it. Things got more hectic for her. She felt trapped. She was told by her abuser that she was overthinking, and he was sorry, and he would change for the millionth time, and he didn't mean to do it, so she stayed with no other choice. We need to raise awareness about verbal abuse and physical abuse, and the significance of the problem. Intimate abuse surrounds us everywhere. Most people who are being abused don't even realize it. Society sees physical abuse with bruises, scars, and cuts for proof, because abuse is only real if we can see it. Verbal abuse is a form of abuse that we need to stop. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 80% of victims do not present physical scars. But regardless of the statistic, we can only concentrate on the 20% because we're visual human beings. If I don't see your pain, it doesn't exist, right? The main signs of verbal abuse are criticism, name-calling, accusations, degrading, condescending, gaslighting, which is manipulation psychologically by means basically into questioning their own sanity, and isolation, like many of you people have read stories of. Now, I watched a TED Talk that Kate May wrote a story on in September 2014, told about Esta Solar. She is the woman who passed the Women's Act Against Violence 20 years ago. She would follow women into the emergency room after they were battered and bruised and take a Polaroid picture of them and hand it to them. Police would call it a lover's quarry, when in reality, Esther knew that it was a form of abuse. It was physical abuse. So she would tell these women to take it to a court of law for proof to show that it was abuse. So she could make the movement that was invisible, visible. The domestic abuse rates have risen since COVID-19 lockdown, which makes it even more important to take a little time out of our day to help. According to Medical News Today by Anna Sondu, we face an increase in domestic violence. The Ebola pandemic demonstrated multiple forms of violence exacerbated within crisis context. COVID-19 is only driving the similar trends as we face that problem presently. By getting involved in volunteering on ways to stop domestic violence, we can do that in multiple ways. When we don't get involved in the fight, we are part of the problem. Now that we've described both problems of verbal and physical abuse, let's turn our attention to what we can do about it. The first step is to go to a national or county or global domestic abuse website, and you're going to see a drop down of how we can get involved. you follow that all the way down to volunteer. You click volunteer. You fill out a simple form of your information. Some give you a choice to put a comment, some don't. And then you just wait to see when you get an email or a phone call. And the second thing you can do, which most domestic abuse hotline or websites have, is a big donate button in capital letters that you click. You go and you, again, fill out a form, and you enter your credit card information, and you pick any amount of donation you want to donate. And following, you'll receive an email or a call in thanks and gratitude. When we take the time to volunteer and join the fight against domestic violence, our contributions greatly help others. Together, we can make a small change that grows bigger and bigger, so the more people that donate and volunteer can make a bigger change. Today, I explained the detriments of domestic abuse and physical abuse, both verbal and physical, the advantages and disadvantages. And I told you of ways we can help by volunteering and donating. I highly encourage you to donate to help community victims and people nationally and globally, because it'll eventually bleed out into other people helping. I highly encourage you to help and make a change. Please do your part to help the victims in our domestic abuse in our community. You never know when you are going to need help one day. Because my reality is that I'm trying to escape my abuser of 12 to 13 years with feelings of no way out, and this is what I look like daily. So do your part. All it is filling out a form or donating $1, maybe $2, so one day they can find their way out. Thank you.